I say, whoa, now y'all should man's in them foul shot and reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network, where today's video will be about covering your six from the subtle attacks, right? A lot of time when I make these videos, I had to go back and like title it because I don't know which stream of consciousness I'm gonna flow through, or I might have an initial idea and then I'll go all around the mulberry bush and then probably kind of not really cover what I thought to cover because my stream of consciousness took me somewhere else. That's why it be kind of somewhat hard to make videos because it just be so much in my consciousness or so much that I'm perceiving, of the world, of myself, where I'm trying to get to, what I should watch out for, what I should strive for, things I need to work on, so on and so forth, right? So this would just be about covering your six. And I guess as the spiritual warfare ramps up, as Babylon falls, as the world at large falls into more bamboozlement and darkness, the battle probably not gonna get no easier. You probably just get stronger at dealing with stuff or understanding the spiritual application about how you should move or how you should operate in wisdom, right? And segue me. I just looked at the comment. I don't think the brother will mind me sharing this on my last video. I didn't see it till he probably saw it on playback. And it resonated with me so much, right? Because the brother said how, and I talk about like the kind of little kidness of my heart that kind of hopes to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we'll talk about the state of, let's say, quote unquote, dating here, especially in the Negro community, right? So in the little kidness of my heart, it'd be like, man, it can't be all them Jones, man. No way, no how. It got to be so. You know what I'm saying? And it probably is. But the reality, my wisdom keeps teaching me over and over and over again. It seems like everybody burnt to a crisp, You know what I mean? And you kind of laugh it off to stop from crying because companionship, procreation, so on and so forth is probably out no, right underneath of housing, food, and clothing. It's probably your next greatest desire, which you almost nowadays have to rewire or do a manual override on your natural inclinations to keep yourself safe and have your progress hindered or anything along them lines, right? Um, genuine connections. That's why it charged me up so much about, what was that, 2 weeks ago when I went to my master bride's birthday party. Now, honestly, my plan was, show a little love, give him a gift, chop it up a little bit, gone. But my plan went awry because the atmosphere of love, appreciation, reverence was so impactful. My spirit had to soak up that because I really don't get it during my regular degular life as I'm handling business, going here, going there, whatever the case may be, right? The brother said it's again back to genuine connections or just the fundamental things that seemingly the other groupings or nations of people have unconsciously. You know what I mean? And especially if you have the Negroid and you're leaning towards spirituality scripturally outside of organized religion, typically you do experience the isolation. Like, can't nobody hurt me? They just be disappointing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might see a flash of, this could be this or whatever the case may be, or this is a promising prospect. And with my life, relatively quickly, it gets obliterated or the mask comes off or whoever they were attempting to portray. Typically, the mask falls off right after the splacking happened. So, segue with this, right? So I make the live last night, and I told my man Ishor Rig this, right? So instead of going straight home, it's a pretty decent as far as like the weather and whatever. So I took the scenic route back home. So I cut through some side streets or whatever the case may be. And it's odd right now that I think about it, because this is what Saturday. Friday I had an order and had to decline it because the order was delivering to what I like to call the head monster house. Somebody I previously dealt with. And of course, the name is synonymous with a certain skill set this female individual has, right? So as I roll out, you know what I'm saying, da da da, I cut the corner and the head monster sitting outside. So I had a thought for about point 0.3 seconds if I want to be generous. I said, nah, turn my head and roll past that joint like Mr. Bean. Like, no, you don't say, no, we're not doing that. And this is an individual, right? Now, of course, I wasn't perfect, But the lengths that she went to destroy me, get me far from jobs, get me into it with other people and other dudes who might want some of that dead, you know what I'm saying? It had to be the most high protection, yo. And at the time, I was still drinking. So even though I'm getting this bad treatment, after it get about 10 o'clock and I'm full of suds and sauce and herb, right? Then the other brain started thinking, which kind of kept me, well, it didn't kind of, it kept me in Charlotte's Web to a degree. So the whatever they were attempting to do, it formed and never prospered. So after a period of time, maybe some years later, we ran into each other. And the head monster told me, now this after I broke my neck and I'm back on deck and all that, told me when she heard I broke my neck, she was happy. And I was drinking at the time. But I took a mental note, like, shot it. Like, how me almost losing my life make you happy? Unless your life is so abysmal that hearing the suffering or the detriment of someone else gives you joy. And you be surprised, not with just with female, but with males, how we inwardly, because our lives are so unfulfilled spiritually or whatever the case may be, it's insane when you think about it. Like even with like whatever situation I got with my kid mama, and I will probably never talk to her again in life, right? But I still don't wish on their downfall. Like I talked about in the previous video, like I hear X, Y, Z, and I'm like, nah, I don't feel like, man, I mean, nah, don't, nah, come on, God. Like, nah, I was just frustrated. You know what I mean? Nah, I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? But to the point where people are, and have no problem telling you, I want to see you fail, or, okay, what did I do to you that other than I didn't allow you to control me, or the plot and scheme you tried didn't work the way you wanted it to work? And that's the insane part about all this to me. Even at my old job, right? I ain't did nothing to nobody. I was down there, like, especially with the sisterhood. I tried to be their daddy, yo, for real, yo. Like, nah, Charlotte, I already know you're gonna do it, but don't do it like that, cause it's gonna come back on you. Do it like this, little Charlotte. You know what I mean? Now they just gonna do it the way they want to do it, and then when everybody find out about what they did, then they mad and all that. I'm like, yo. So everybody hate me. Not that I care. Not because I did anything to them. One, I was wise enough to get caught up in Charlotte Web. And two, everything I said would transpire took place. But you hate me for that. They hate you when you're not stupid. Yo, that's crazy. It's like the Babylonian Negroid Jezebel. Almost, no, this is what I'm saying though, right? It's the proliferation of the Ahab Jezebel concept, yo. They want you to have something going on, but they still want the psychological edge over you. And if they can't get it and you get attached to them, they will be hell bent. They can't destroy you by attachment. So then they'll be hell bent on destroying you when you detach. That's why I don't fool with none of this foolishness, man. It's not even worth it at this point, bro. It's not. I was watching caught a clip of Coach Greg Adams. What's that? The free agent lifestyle on this jump, right? Ain't no way to solve a spiritual problem with intellectual discourse, right? So the brother Marcus Houston, I guess he, B2K guy, whatever. He was out when I was, coming of age, right? I guess he married a 19-year-old, because they're in the Jehovah Witness religion, boop, da, boop, da, boop, da, boop. And they ain't been married but a hot second. But even he having problems, and he so say rich or got status and all that. You know, I guess the brothers talk about living your purpose and body gains, getting your money up. You might have a better leverage to stand on. But none of that even matters here in Babylon, as we see with these entertainers, athletes, personal people I know of. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to practically beat a spiritual entity other than not fooling with it, yo. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, you ain't got enough money for her to be faithful, right? Like the Bezos man, he got all the money in the world, and his wife still divorced him. You know what I'm saying? It's so tripping how, okay, she say she cheap, quote unquote, right? Because you ain't got enough money. You know what I'm saying? And she'll cheat with a dude who got money. Then let's say if she with a dude that got money, she'll cheat with a dude who don't have no money because he got the time to do the one thing the man with money don't do. Man, on folk boys, real in the battlefield, cotton. And if I don't like the rules of the game, I just don't play. And that's why it like a greater level of like mental, emotional, and sexual discipline is a necessity on the battlefield, Jack. Now I do know people who have harmonious from the outside looking in, got harmonious relationships, attachments, whatever the case may be. But they're so few and far between, it's almost a drop in a bucket in totality of what we witness every day. You know what I'm saying? Not just that, and then just the chicanery and the tomfoolery, it can be kind of draining to me. So I've been kind of like, because every time you hop on social media, something. Now some of it do be funny, but it be funny in a sad way. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the intellectual black thought, independent of a 501c3 or some type of organization? And I get it, maybe because of spiritual captivity. Maybe we're kind of curtailed in doing that to a degree. You know what I'm saying? But it's mad real out here. You know what I'm saying? And then I found it odd that the Friday before I got an order and I had to decline it. Now I could have just dropped it up, but I didn't even feel like going nowhere near the house of the strange woman, like I say in Proverbs. Not that anything gonna happen when she gonna tempt me. I just don't even like being around it. You know what I'm saying? They make my spidey sense tingle. They make the hair on my arm stand up. Like I start getting like uh what would I call it? Like almost a spiritual fight or flight sense. Like I tense up, like, because I don't know what you finna do. So my brain instantly goes into this algorithm inside my head of uh uh liability. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever seen like on Terminator when they go inside his head and everything he looking at, say if he's looking at this, there's like percentages of XYZ happening and this, that, and the third. That's what instantly goes down to. Because I have to analyze the game in order to navigate this seemingly simulation. And I call it that because it seems like the vast majority of people I meet are under some type of program. That means they're going to behave, say, act, do a certain way. If you're in the, let's say, the Democratic program, you believe in sexual liberation. Don't even know why you believe it. You just believe it. You know what I'm saying? You believe in, let's say, abortion. You believe in civil rights. You know what I'm saying? You believe in that type of stuff. If you're in, let's say the streets, you have a certain belief system that don't nobody uphold, but you just regurgitate it, even though you don't see nobody around you operating in what they say they do. You know what I'm saying? There's the what I like to call the big beefy and bitter syndrome. That's what the head monster into now, cause she done blowed up like a hard-boiled egg. You know what I'm saying? All this entitlement, like, and here's what make me mad, yo, to the point of triggering me. Right? I know people who are behaviorally reprehensible, but yet and still they're prideful, as if they're better than the world around them. You know what I mean? That's what be triggering me. Like, and make me like internally, you know what I'm saying? When a dog see another potential dud that could potentially be a threat, and they do that little growl because they don't know what type of time it's on, but just getting ready just in case it got to attack or flee or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And that's a commonized trait or commonality that I've noticed as Babylon has just done a number on our sisters. Again, I never got into this into the last video. I talked about it and then I went off course. But I like to call it the Kunta Kinte and Kizzy principle. You remember on Roots where, and I keep talking about this, where my man was he escaped the plantation. Now I've escaped the plantation spiritually. I'm working on physically escaping it, but I don't know where you can run to. But whatever, right? So first thing he want to do is go get him a woman, but he's not consciously thinking what she's going through. He's just fixated on getting a woman. My man talked about this on the comment where nowhere in my thought did I ever think it would come to this and this would be a reality ever. Not even my stream of consciousness. So he get up on a woman like, come on, let's get up out of here. He's not understanding that the plantation construct has imposed itself on her to where it looked like her, but what made her her has been, raped or beaten out of her. So now she's under a new program. She has a new internal software operating program. But he can't tell. The only way he can tell is when she said, "We not leaving. Where are we gonna go at? I'm now master such and such's bed wench. So I'll make you feel good because I know you. But after that, I'm going back and do what the program tell me to do." Had to slide down like that, boy. God, the mercy no. Boy, how much heartbreak must have knew. I mean, you really, and no nobody care. But you got to figure, how much heartbreak, betrayal must the non-programmable Negro go through in this matrix? You understand me? You know what I'm saying? If you go throughout the course of life, depending on who you are, I'm pretty sure you had somebody from the sandbox switch up on you and try to fade you. You know what I'm saying? Something you might have had genuine love for, chose something else that's lesser than you, and will throw that person in your face. You know what I'm saying? Then as time proceed on, they're a shell of their former selves. You know what I mean? Uh, 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 Not even, let's say, low income Negro community, but Negro black dysfunction has proliferated all aspects of black society, right? You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense, right? Other than the imposition of the program for someone to take pride in being a single parent. I raised my kids by myself. Now, that might be something you had to do due to circumstance, but I don't think that's something you want to take pride in. You know what I'm saying? I don't see the Asian folk take pride in that, or the Muslim folk that's from Sandtown. I don't see the Hispanics who aren't westernized influence. I don't see none of them doing that, and they look happy. We fake happiness buying overpriced luxury items that come from the same group of the people to give ourselves some semblance of value. You know what I'm saying? But are internally, morally, and spiritually bankrupt. I never thought I'd see. I mean, I know the word alludes to this and all that, but to see it in reality and to see it to such a degree where the alternative is almost attempting to find a needle in a haystack, it can make the heart grow weary. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're still just a regular human being who has desire for, you know, just be a human with human emotions and so on and so forth. It's mad second. So as again, I'm back to my spot out here. You know what I'm saying? Cause I be having to come here and recharge. Cause the world, you can't stop the world from whirling on you. You just deploy your counter tactics to keep oil in your lampstand. And this is what I do. I've been doing this. Not even realize concept. I just felt led to kind of duck off or, do an internal audit. Kind of, what's not detached, but kind of disassociate from the world for a period of time to then come back and have to deal with whatever I got to deal with pertaining to the world. Because it can get very leery or you try to find things to kind of offset it. So you might have a little sip here and there. You might smoke your one, you know what I'm saying? And try to rise above this foolishness, you understand me? You know what I mean? But for the most part, and it get harder and harder to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because now they poisoning everything. You know what I'm saying? You can eat healthy or eat organic, but that might be genetically manipulated. They just put organic on it. You know what I'm saying? Man, we probably all should have been on a lot with all this poisoning in the air. And it's so crazy how you have entities that, are supposed to regulate that stuff and don't do none of it. So why is the Food and Drug Administration even a thing if all the stuff they approve is all the stuff they got to recall later on? Yeah, how you even got a job, yo? Or in my personal situation with these various oversight agencies who don't oversee nothing when it comes to me telling them something. But if somebody were to make an allegation on me, man, I had to fight tooth and nail just to prove I didn't do something that never existed or never happened. You know what I'm saying? They'll just use like I got I got evidence. Won't nobody look at it, even though your job description, title, organization say that that's what you're supposed to do. But somebody can just say something about me, make it up, and now I have to prove that this myth never transpired. And then when I can't prove something never happened that didn't happen, somehow I'm guilty of it. Now I'm not, man. That's why I try to stay out like certain environments around certain people. Because I can control myself. I have the skill set to do so. But sometimes you don't want to, I don't want to. I want to lean on you. I want to tell you all about yourself. Or how this judicial system is a fallacy. You know what I mean? I've always liked doing that. I like telling the oppressor about himself in his house. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to, talk a whole lot of stuff in a safe place like your couch. It's another thing to go in his domain and tell him all about himself and not be concerned with what happened. Because they got all the control anyway. I just want to tell you about yourself. That's the only W I can get. Yeah, I'm going down, but but I'm gonna give it to you as I'm going down. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all the black man can do. Put it out there. This is crazy. This is what we get for the fun. I ain't know it'd be all this, yo. Granted, I wasn't there, but I ain't know this would. Ooh, we talking about some punishment. I'm trying the little bit of stuff, that I can work on. I'll be honest, my thoughts ain't always pure. Sometimes I do dream and get great mental pleasure out of imagining vengeance against my enemies and crushing them by my hand. Yeah. But I know I can't. I can do it, but then I'll be out of order. But but sometimes when I'm frustrated, I get great mental joy thinking of that, or watching those who attempted to, hinder progress or curtail whatever forward motion or be an inconvenience. Mentally, sometimes when I'm in my frustrated mode, I get off on that, right? But then let me hear something unrelated happen to them. I'm like, I start repenting. Nah, I ain't feel like that, yo. Nah, I'm just frustrated. I ain't know what else to do. And I don't actually do it. I just go to the Most High with it. You know what I'm saying? That's where I take all my frustration to. Probably the only person gonna listen. Up to y'all on here who may be able to identify with the unorthodox way that I say stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's real in the battlefield. That's why I keeps it real. And because I keeps it real, I don't be letting nobody lie to me or say something that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? My brain reject it. It can't handle it, yo. It's like you ever talk to that old school, let's say that civil rights brother who had to pull himself up by a bootstrap, and you just come up on him making a whole bunch of excuses and talking stupid, and you can't endure nothing and all that. You mess around making mad, and you can probably beat him because he's older, but he want to go across your chin for disrespecting his brain like that, for disrespecting his struggle. You know what I'm saying? How dare you? I look like this now, but you don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? When they put that water hose on me back in '74, man. You don't know nothing about when they locked me up and I lost my steel mill job because I was out there protesting. You know what I'm talking about? Man, get out of here, man. So I do understand how they hold on to that. I ain't trying to hear none of that, man. And that, not even that, there's a great disconnect between, let's say, now I keep more of a youthful exuberance and I'll be more of a man of understanding. But let's say, I wouldn't say my generation, because we're kind of like the tweeners. But how they say, I'm old enough to know better, but young enough to do. No, I'm old enough to do better, but young enough not to do, or something like that, right? But there's a great chasm between, let's say, the older generation and the YNs. Neither they don't understand it, and I get it from both sides of the angle. Um, the older generation, let's say my parents' and them generation, and we all every generation done drop the ball to some degree. And you don't know stuff till you know. And when they run in these systematic bamboozlements, they always got to sell it to you thinking it's something, beneficial or whatever, or some symbolic figure. But it don't be none of that once it get rolled out. And sometimes you don't see the aftermath till maybe years or even decades, in the future. You know what I'm saying? But as far as putting us up on game, yeah, the old, and they were kind of the first ones who got funneled into, the sexual liberation and, all that type of stuff. That's where they started having the Papa was a Rolling Stone, where every last hat was home. That was more so like my parents and them generation. But the young, the YNs, they're the zero sum of all of that. So a lot of I understand why I don't why they don't respect, let's say, the older generation, because they ain't put them on no game. They can't speak. They're not trying to understand. The older generation just want to do this to you. Man, that ain't gonna work. It ain't look right now, young. The only way I'm gonna listen to you if I perceive you understand, or if I perceive you actually genuinely care. But if you trying to reprimand me and you not helping me or give me another option, man, get out my face. And I'll mess around and take my frustration out on something that look just like me. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the YN is attacking himself in the future. Ooh, how not said. That's why like our generation is attempting to be more entrepreneurial because these jobs ain't nothing and whoop whoop whoop. You know what I mean? Again, see here I go all over the place. But it's the whole substance of this is very multi-layered and multifaceted. But it all goes back to a spiritual root. You know what I mean? Word up. And because we never get to the spiritual root, just like modern medicine, We just keep attempting to treat this particular disease with stuff that might mitigate the circumstances, but it never alleviates the problem. Like back to my man Marcus Houston, who married a 19-year-old, and I guess, now she might be in the religion of Jehovah's Witness, but even the structure, even if you look at the Christian church or whatever the case may be, even though that's an organization, it's still under the imposition of the culture of Babylon. So I guess she want to do, city girl stuff. So he did what they say do. He got all the money, he got some status and whatever case may be. He went, got a younger jump, and the same stuff happened that would have happened had he got a bonquisha or a single mom, as they say, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't solve the problem. The problem, this problem we see manifested in our physical reality, in our community, can't be solved. Now, it might have been created with legislation through a demonic spirit, but it can't be solved with legislation. It has to go back to the way of the Mohawk, or how we designed to live. Case in point. Now, I've been eating pork in working on 4 years, and I just stopped just to try to, it wasn't really for any kind of spiritual reason. I was just trying to do different stuff, you know what I mean? But, especially, back in the day when they would give us pork, you know what I mean? Or even back in the Old Testament where they would try to force the one prophet to eat the unclean foods, and he like, nah, I ain't gonna do that and all that there. You know what I'm saying? It's almost a spiritual pork that's being imposed on us, whether we know it or not, and we're defiled by such. You know what I'm saying? And I doubt maybe a remnant make it out of this, but we too far gone at this point, as in totality, as a group of people. We too far gone. We got too much Egypt in us to be of any use or effectiveness in our proverbial promised land in mass. You know what I'm saying? Egypt has to be purged out of you. Like, let's say, hypothetically, they say we'll give y'all a whole bunch of whatever. We'll give y'all, the government say we'll give y'all $10,000 a month if y'all get married and stay married and produce kids and do all that there. They might do it initially for the money, but whatever's in you that you have done habitually is eventually going to come out. So you'll jack that up. Because we're not used to treating others with respect if we've been programmed to see each other as competition and enemy and be disrespectful toward one another. Just like if I stop drinking, and this is true and this has happened, I know this, right? So I'm correlating this to my, recovery journey, right? I can stop drinking today, but it's going to take me a period of time to get rid of the behaviors that were associated with me drinking, even though I don't drink no more. You know what I'm saying? Being manipulated, like and I see it all the time. Like people stop using drugs, but they're still manipulative. They're still, I don't know. They're still manipulative. They're still self-indulged, or you know, they seek new drugs like sex, or you know what I'm saying, instant gratification, so on and so forth. They just don't use drugs no more. So that was just actually, this is gonna sound crazy. Now drug addiction causes a problem, but it's actually what somebody does to solve a problem. The root cause of the problem is that you can't be comfortable with yourself without the substance. You know what I'm saying? And be okay in your own skin, which Babylon does create that. And I see it a lot too, where if I don't have X, Y, Z, and a lot of this is subconscious. I don't feel like a man unless I got a certain amount of fake money. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't feel like a man unless I got certain items. Or you know what I'm saying? And I fall into that too. That's why I'm striving for my own land and my own ability to produce, so I can really feel like a man. To not need another man to provide for me shelter or food. Cause I do all that for myself. I'm hell bent on that. Then I really talk some yin yang. Or as I've noticed, the more I evolve, the more I stop talking. If I'm able to produce my own food, build my own home, produce my own energy, the things that are functional to just day-to-day living, what can the average person, no matter who they are in society, tell me about anything? You know what I'm saying? Not like preeminence or anything like that. But what we finna talk about, unless we finna talk about how to do that. Because if you can't do that, or that's not provided for you, you have a very hard road living life. if you don't have shelter, if you can't feed yourself, so on and so forth. But all that's provided by the system, which creates comfortability, and comfortability kills. We don't want to step out the comfort zone. I embrace the comfort zone. I embrace uncomfortability, knowing that it breeds growth, and that's what I'm on, the original GD's growth and development. So if I don't feel like I'm growing in a certain fashion, I get mad with myself because I want to challenge myself. You know what I'm saying? And then speaking of that, I've been kind of a little lazy. So I'm supposed to, I said, today is leg day, so I'm going to do a whole bunch of what they call Mike Tyson squats. Free squats, you be super duper sore, right? But sometimes I feel like doing legs and get legs. But I'm finna do it now, though, because I had to embrace the the uncertainty, the uncomfortability. That's what got me on my warrior status now. You know what I'm saying? You know, I didn't know how to corporate, even though I think I got in the bag. There's no guarantees, especially here in Babylon. And I got the W, but it didn't come the way I thought because of the evidence I presented. It actually came because the other party shot themselves in the foot, trying to vindicate themselves, talking too much. Message, you know what I'm saying? But on that note, I think I was just on here rambling, sharing myself, my ideas with the world. You know, I want to appreciate y'all, because a lot of times, you know, on YouTube, everyone's the aficionado of a particular subject matter or niche, right? But a lot of times I hop on here and ask y'all questions because I don't know everything. And then like last night, you know, Brother King Connect, with the word was very encouraging and uplifting and charged me up to kind of almost help me guide what I was trying to say. Because sometimes you can perceive stuff, but it'd be hard to put into words. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel like words don't exist. Like they say, you know, let's say whatever heaven looked like, it'd be hard to quantify that with the English language, or the glory thereof, or the majesty of the Most High. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes some stuff you feel you can't put into words. It's just I guess a feeling, or you know what I mean. That's why sometimes I got good command of the English language. Sometimes it'd be hard for me to articulate again with any kind of linear flow what I'm perceiving, put it in words, and then feel like I did it to some level of justice where somebody else can understand where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? But in reality, it'd be nice. But in reality, I don't need everybody to understand. I understand, and the Most High understand. And I know He understands, because that's the epitome or the epicenter of all wisdom and knowledge. So anything that I'm going through, it ain't like it's a surprise to Him, or any way that I'm feeling, or anything that I'm struggling with. You know what I'm saying? He said He made the end from the beginning, which again leads me into this kind of, I'm rambling now. I'm really starting to believe this is a simulation, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like all this is like I'm really getting more and more into this matrix kind of thing, where you're destined to wake up at a certain point of time. Or like in the, what was that, the last one or the third Matrix joint, where he said this is a simulation, and basically we, you know, destroyed the simulation a couple times over or something like that, and this is the seventh time or the sixth time we about to do it. You know what I'm saying? But he himself was an anomaly, and he was actually created to do certain things, but he actually broke the code, not realizing it, or his coding went rogue, almost how the AI is gonna go rogue, like in Terminator and all that. I might be on to something. Or how, you know what I'm saying? Or I find these like epiphanies in these movies, which I guess is predictive programming, especially with the Carmelo Anthony thing, and they had the Civil War movie, and you know what I'm saying? All this whatever AI movies coming out, zombie movies coming out, and all this here, man. I don't know. I kind of, here's like, I'm kind of, and that's where I'm at with it. I know there's mental detachment, but I'm beginning to go through almost a detachment of consciousness where it feels like I'm in the world. Of course, I'm not of it, but it's almost like I'm implant, or how, you know how you put the I never put one of them Oculuses or one of them type jumps. So you're in your living room, you put on this Oculus, and now you're transplanted or imposed into a artificial reality where the laws are different, don't not make no sense, but you actually know you're in the game and you can pull the Oculus off and go back to real reality. It feel like that, bro. And it feel like my soul yearns to go home, or somewhere where it's at peace, or it's comfortable, or I don't have to overly be hyper vigilant or analyze every nuance of someone's body language or tone or voice inflection. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere where I belong. Almost like Tupac when he said he wanted Thug Mansion, a place where we can kick it. You know what I'm saying? Where it at? But on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all. One love, baby. Cover your six. Ooh, ah.